Good evening, everyone! Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants, and of course I'm your host, your YouTube messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated, as well as your Lake Erie WWE Champion, Tim Vicious, and we are going over Raw this week. Was in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, which case, useless information, folks. Some of the greatest exports that Canada has ever given the world. Maple syrup, Wayne Gretzky, the age-old debate of if bacon is ham, I'm trying to think how to put this one. As well as the age-old debate of do Canadians get some American pennies in their change every now and then, as well as, well, smoking hot women wrestlers. If you don't believe me, do your homework, look it up yourself. And I'm not even just talking like Trish Stratus, because, you know, she's in a league all of her own, but you look over the history with, like, women Canadian wrestlers, like, dude, they're all like, okay, and now that I'm done being now that I'm done having a male chauvinistic pig moment, let's get into the show. First things first, before we get into Raw, if you haven't been noticing, if you've been watching this show for a bit, you've been noticing the past couple weeks, we've been mentioning, you know, some highlights about other events or shows or wrestling in general throughout the, you know, at the beginning of the show. Keep on trying to change things up, you know, we don't want to stay same old, same old. You really need to thank my executive producer, Oliver Ben, on Twitter, at Oliver Ben, for mentioning that we should start continuing to highlight other events at the top of the show for you guys as well. Talk about the greatest Rumble. It was in Saudi Arabia last week. It was on Friday, this past Friday at the time of this recording, and honestly, for what it was, I thought it was an okay show. I thought it was a decent show. The matches that stood out for me more than anything was John Cena and Triple H, because it had very much so an old-fashioned kind of wrestling match feel to it. And, well, of course, the greatest Rumble as well, the 50-man Rumble, which case, kudos to Daniel Bryan for, you know, lasting as long as he did. Fucking chest red, swelled up from fucking chops out the ass, you know. As well as Titus O'Neil for creating the single greatest comical moment in wrestling history. He get, you know, 3, 2, 1, bang. Next thing you know, his music hits, he comes out, he starts running, he's running, and as Vince McMahon would say, oh, and here he comes, he's running, he just tripped, he slid up, god damn, pal, that is fucking funny, he just tripped and he slid under the ring, oh, that's hilarious, oh, we gotta see that again, I love it. Yeah, that would, that's how I personally imagine Vince seeing that moment when Titus tripped, fell, and slid under the ring. Yeah, but yeah. You know, Braun Strowman won that, so, you know, kudos to Braun on winning that. He got a trophy, he got his own special title for it. You know, other than that, the big things that happened from it, no titles changed hands. Whereas in regards to the Raw tag title thing, surprise, surprise, Matt and Bray won, especially considering Cesaro and Sheamus were going to SmackDown, so, okay. But either way, you know, don't worry, like I always say, don't focus so much on the ending of on how a match is, okay, because that's where you go when you finish the dance. Worry about doing the dance itself. Worry about the storytelling that leads up all the way to the ending. You know, that's where I like to think I differ a lot from fans, because instead of thinking like, oh well, you know, they gave this kind of a shitty ending. You know, I don't worry so much about the ending. I want to see the match itself. Now, anyways, Raw started out with Roman talking about his match with Brock at the Rumble in the cage, and if you watched the match, you would notice, and if you saw me on my Twitter at Tim Vicious watching that match as well, you would see right off bat, you know, on how that came to an end. Roman speared Brock through the cage and they both landed outside. Brock's back was on the cage. His feet were still laying up against the side like this, whereas Roman rolled over and he touched the mat first. And I was blasting that non-stop for like fucking 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes solid after that match ended. You know, but the ref called it. They chalked it up to the ref was in such a state of panic because both men were knocked out. He, you know, with the benefit of hindsight, he regrets making that type of decision and this, that, and the other. So, and Raw started out with Roman talking about all that and saying, you know, how he failed, but he should be the champion. You know, everyone agreed what they saw is what it was. I should be the champ. Rest assured, I am going to be champ soon enough. Now, immediately after that, Samoa Joe appeared up on the Titantron, wound up cutting a promo on him, saying on how, surprise, surprise, Roman, you failed once again. But don't be too surprised when this Sunday at Backlash, when I beat you much like I've been saying I will, because you cannot do what it takes to get the job done. And I'm basically paraphrasing. Now, here's my fan prediction, you know, just freestyling here on this, but honestly, I see Roman and Lesnar ending at SummerSlam, more than likely. Roman finally gets the title. Okay. In which case, as much as I've liked Brock Lesnar being the champion, and I've given my reason before, you know, being like the, you know, very much so like, think of it like in the old territorial days, NWA, when Ric Flair was champion, you know. He would come to this city, and this town, and this town, and this town, and this town, like, you know, big attraction feel, you know. Sometimes the whole less is more thing, and in a way, it does work in that sense with that. But, at the same time, you know, sometimes you want a little more than what you're just being fed, you know. And you guys know, I hope you guys are understanding what I mean on this, you know. But yeah. So, that's on how the opening went. We get our first matchup, Elias going up against Bobby Roode. And, you know, I'm going to just say it now. Love Bobby Roode. Love the Glorious gimmick. But honestly, I would much prefer Bobby going back to his snide, cocky, full of himself like he was in NXT Glorious way. Instead of, you know, being, you know, instead of being like he is now as a face. Because if you're not going to go and brag about on how glorious you are, I don't know, I don't see the pizzazz behind it. Either way, match started off with, you know, the match started during the commercial break. They came back. Elias, he was pretty much handling the match. How he was doing it, though, he kept targeting Bobby's throat, you know, doing a rope thing, headlocks, choke locks, things like that. Match came to an end with the ref stop when Bobby, he mounted a small bit of adrenaline, mounted a small bit of a comeback. They chalked it up to a shot of adrenaline. And he was on the outside. Excuse me. He was on the outside. Elias, wham! Threw him throat first into the turnbuckle. And then he came down. Ref called for a stoppage. And so, yeah, that was it. I kind of like that because, heaven forbid a bad guy should have to do bad guy things to get a win. Right? So yeah, next matchup we get the piss break, folks. This is piss break of the night. This is the piss break, folks. So if you got to go to the bathroom, you can, but just please, not while this show's on. By all means, there's a pause button down there. Yeah, down there. Hit that button, not right while I'm still talking, but wait until I'm done talking. Hit that button, then go to the bathroom, then come back. Okay, I'm going to go and guess that you guys did that and you came back. Hope you washed your hands afterwards. But anyways, we got a piss break. It was the Authors of Pain going against two local French-Canadian guys. I wish I could say I know more about these guys. I don't. My Twitter at Tim Vicious, my timeline blew up. Everyone talking about on how it was 3.0. Apparently they're a pretty decent tag team, but yeah, you put them up against the Authors of Pain, Aka and Razor, and also on an unrelated note, finally I found somebody who agreed with me and thinks the same way I do, in which case, hearing the Authors of Pain's names, all I can think is the Mutant Monsters and Ninja Turtles 2. Toka and Razor. So, yeah. Anytime I see the Authors of Pain now, I'm just going to think of Ninja Turtle. I just automatically think of Ninja Turtles 2. But yeah. They cut anyways, it was what it was. It was a piss break, squash match. After the match, the Authors of Pain cut a promo. Really miss precious Paul Ellering, but understand, he doesn't want to travel, So, okay, but I hope they improve as time goes with, with the way they can cut a promo. Anyways, next matchup, we got women's action. Ruby Riott going up against Sasha Banks. Excuse me. Wait, can we open up a window in here? It's a little dry. That's why I'm coughing so much, man. Anyways. Ruby Riott, Sasha Banks, nice good start. For the most part, Ruby, she was kind of leading this match. The story behind this match really was more so than Sasha really not having Bayley anymore. That's where it was, and it was supposed to be that now she's alone and by herself. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Like I said, it was pretty okay match, Pretty okay match. Ruby, she was pretty much leading it right up until the ending. One thing I did notice, though, and you could definitely tell that they're going to start, one thing I'm hoping, I got to watch on how I say it because I don't want to sound like that fuck knuckle Meltzer. One thing I am hoping on is that they're going to start moving Ruby forward, because during the match, Ruby, she wound up doing a senton off the top rope onto Sasha, and you saw do the count 1, 2, kick out. You could hear and feel the crowd's reaction on how mad they were. Sasha Banks kicked out of that. Now, if that's just for that spot, or if, you could chalk it up to, oh, well, it was just that because of that high spot. Oh, well, it's Canada, what do they know? Well, they know as much as anyone else, They're just as much of a fan. They're just as much of a fan as the guy in Florida or in California or in Tokyo, They're just as much of a fan as any of those people. They get to have a right to, you know, cheer behind and get behind anyone. Who am I to judge? But, point being, what I'm getting at is, I'm hoping that with that, they're going to say, you know, I think we should move forward with her. Let's start putting her in a major, we're going to start pushing her soon. So yeah, but decent match, you know, all in all. Match came to an end when Sasha, she had the bank statement locked in. Sarah Logan came in, distracted the ref. Liv wound up pulling Ruby out. After that, Sasha went to go chase after Liv for a second, and then climbed up to the top to go and do like the knee thing, I think. But Ruby stopped her, and then next you know, boom, Riott kick to the head, 1, 2, 3. That was it. Ruby Riott's your winner. So, next match we get is your daily shot of NyQuil. Baron Corbin versus No Way Jose. And, you know, I love the No Way Jose character, like the idea. My big worry, he's going to burn out in about 3 months, much like Adam Rose. You know? Really hoping that it doesn't, you know, No Way Jose, really good in NXT, really liked it, but there are just some things in NXT that don't transition well going from there to the main roster. You know? It's unfortunately, you know? Quite possibly the best example of that, Enzo. Okay, maybe I'm being a little biased, but anyways. Yeah, Corbin versus No Way Jose, this is kind of... like I said, it was your shot of NyQuil, because honestly, it's Corbin, and Baron Corbin makes a sack of potatoes look interesting. You know, I mean, I'm glad he's been able to improve his mic skills by being able to speak more than 2 or 3 words at a time without bobbing his head back and forth like this. You know, trying to look like a bad Axl Rose. But, just, yeah. And now, do want to point out there is some story to this because obviously Corbin beat up Jose last week. But also, when Titus was getting interviewed about the whole trip, fall, slide under the ring thing, you know, Corbin came over, told him on how, you know, he was a joke, he's a goof, he's just doing this to make the people laugh, whereas Corbin's here to bash people's teeth in and get a paycheck for it, and just, dude, that just sounds like you're here to make a hostile working environment. I mean, I understand this is supposed to be this is supposed to be like a combat athlete environment, you know, type of feel, but god damn. Ain't no need to make it sound so... ain't no need to make it sound that bad. Ugh. Sorry. But yeah. Match came to an end when, just while Corbin's pretty much pounding Jose into hamburger meat, Titus's music comes out, Titus, Cruz, and Dana come out, you know, and Dana and Apollo, they come out, they get to the bottom of the ramp, they go and wave Titus down. Titus starts making a rundown. Just as he's about to get to the bottom part, they're like, whoa, wait. Wipe the floor, make it nice and clean, and then Titus just, oh, boom, boom, walks over it like it's nothing. Next thing you know, climbs up on the apron, looks like he's about to go and hop the ropes, and then stumbles down. And you could tell he intentionally did that, yeah, okay, and that's all good. Because honestly, thing I'm kind of hoping for is that this kind of leads to something new with Titus, because in a way I'd hope, like, during his matches he gets to do this, and, like, you know, kind of like in drunken kung, you know, kind of like drunk style kung fu, you know. And Titus doing screwing up spots like that just to mess with the opponents. Like, the hell is he doing? Is he trying to climb over? You know, screw this. I might just get him, and then next thing you know, boom! Something like that. But, anyways, I'm done with the done with the freestyling on that. Let's get back to this. Came to an end. Titus stumbled over. Corbin's just looking like, what the hell is this? And then Jose gets him with a roll up 1, 2, 3. That was it. So, yeah. Next up, we get another women's match. Mickie James with Alexa Bliss going up against Natayla, who's got Ronda Rousey in her corner. And this all led because of last week's main event when, after Natty sold her twisted ankle like Peter Griffin scraping a knee. Gah! Gah! Ah! You know, Ronda came out, helped Natty, and then put Mickie in an armbar. So, yeah. Now, as far as this match went, this was really... It's 2018, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, because I thought this term died along with the... Thought this, one of my old terms, I thought would die for good, but... This really it was more of an ST Divas match. Ugh. Can't believe I just said that. Anyways, yeah. Because honestly, it was just like, yeah, at best. Mickie, she was selling her arm being tweaked from last week still, which, okay, kind of cool, good. You know, work on the injury. But you know, it just, Ronda gave Alexa Bliss a chase, and that was the big focus on it as they were doing that. Natty wound up doing a roll-up, got the 1, 2, 3, and then after that, while Alexa Bliss is up at the ramp, avoiding Ronda Rousey, she hears the music. Behind her is Alexa Bliss, and then she makes a beeline out of it through the crowd, and as Nia is in the ring, she stares down Ronda and Natayla and then raises both their arms. Yay! And yeah. Honestly, I'd like to see a Ronda Rousey Nia Jax match, more so just because I want to see, you know, I personally, I would just like to see it. So yeah. Next up, main event and match of the night. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Intercontinental title. Last match these two guys are having, because promo that led up to it earlier in the night, Seth came out talking about his win in Saudi Arabia in the ladder match. Excuse me. And then Finn came out saying, you know, you did. The better man did win. But the way I see it, I've won 2 matches against you. You've won 2 matches against me. What do you say we have one more to split the difference? And yeah, that's... I'm not even going to talk about the Miztourage part, because honestly, yeah. Bo Dallas, he would kill it as a mid-carder on his own, but Curtis Axel, the kid's got potential. You know, I had a lot of hopes for the kid, but honestly, it's just really, he's just riding on his dad's coattails. It's kind of the sad truth, you know. But yeah. As far as this match goes between Seth and Finn, real great, nice opening, liked it, good and solid. Great back and forth all around, really loved it. Probably the best part in the match, in my personal opinion, Seth going up to the top, doing a superplex on the Finn, float over, looks like he's getting ready to do his normal superplex, float over into a Falcon Arrow. Just as he floats over and they're both standing, Balor reverses it and boom, hits him with a Falcon Arrow of his own. And, but yeah, really good, really cool to see. You know, match came to an end though eventually. Seth, he got the curb stomp. It was a clean win. 1, 2, 3. That was it. And yeah. But one thing I do want to note though, if you have been on Twitter, if you've noticed, ever since the Moms Against WWE Twitter account left, you notice Seth Rollins has been using the curb stomp again? I'm just saying. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Punchline.
So yeah, that is it for this week's show, folks. So do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Make sure you also look for me on my Twitter at TimVicious. Do also have another account, Tim_Vicious. Also on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. If you look for me on the Facebook gimmick, let me know you found me on there from here, so I don't think you got your creeps on going trying to follow me. Also, folks, do not forget to follow all of these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Axel Morgan, make sure you check out Axel's newest project, Wrestling Review. Talks about British and European wrestling. Kenny Killer. My two good brothers, I am Danny Sunday, and Oliver Ben, who is the executive producer for this show, who did also provide the music for this week's show. Make sure y'all check it out. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, and such. Details are down below. Cranky Grandpa, Aaron _DeBorat, and Dazzy MWPM. Oh, actually, folks, I apologize because, you know, you can blame Wade and Ed for this one, but apparently we wound up missing a match. Yeah. So, thanks guys. This is the beauty thing about this show, folks. We don't hide our fuck-ups. Anyways, there was a 6-man match in the middle of the show. Jinder Mahal, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, and Roman Reigns. Forgot to mention that part in this show, folks, because during the Roman promo, they all came out. I was moving along so fast, I wound up talking faster than I was thinking. I apologize on that. As far as the match goes, you know, it was your normal trios, you know, save the one guy from getting beat up, and now we're gonna have a match over it, kind of thing. One thing was really impressed with, and I'm kind of hoping, and can't say I'm hoping for, but I'm picturing in my head to try and figure out on where it's gonna go from here, is the idea of Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman being a tag team, because honestly, those are two big bad dudes, man. You could just, yeah. That match, it was what it was. It was the mid-card match. Braun Strowman got the win doing a running power slam on Kevin Owens, but it was a fairly decent match. All the guys did get a chance to have equal chance to perform, and, you know, fairly decently. Again, I apologize on that. I apologize on behalf of those two idiots for, you know, not doing that part right. So, like I was saying before, look for me on my Twitter at TimVicious. Look for my other account, Tim_Vicious. Look for me on the Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck yous. How could you do me like that? How could you?